Poyo. Good morning, Internet. For me, it's morning. For you, it's night. But good morning all the same. Here we go. Zelda Breath of the Wild should be the very last thing we need to do is infiltrate Ganon's secluded castle, interrupt him midstream, is doing a mid Twitch girl stream, cam girl sesh, and we're gonna interrupt it. He was playing with his tier 2 subscribers, showing him off a little bit of avocados. We're just gonna raid that shit. We're gonna bust the door down. He's gonna get pissed. But he's not supposed to be in the castle anyway, so that's kind of his fault. He shouldn't have streamed, in the wrong place. That's really how that goes. Streaming lesson 101. What's up, Internet? Good to see you again today. I woke up nice and early. I had a nice big meal, and it ended up being way too big. And I ended up just completely conking out. I ended up I couldn't keep it going. I just it weighed me down and just completely slopped me right back into bed. I was completely out like a light. I woke up feeling tired, and I was like, whatever, I'll get some food and just get this going. As soon as I finished eating, I was like, nope. I just crawled back in the bed like a slug and just flat left out for like another 3 hours. So, I'm sorry I wanted to do this much earlier today, kind of catch the usual crew at around the 9-10 o'clock point. We're a couple hours after that. It's basically midnight, so I apologize. But still, I want to get this game done. It's been a very enjoyable run. I've enjoyed this game. I'm quite surprised. I didn't think I would be on top of... I didn't think I'd really be joining anybody on this bandwagon, but it's been a good one. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to it, but you really don't have to do much of it. It's actually a pretty straight shot if you want to beat the game. But still, man, it's appropriate that we're starting this with rain. This rain I love the rain, but boy, it's pestered me forever. This rain has pestered me forever. Man. It comes up right when you're about to climb shit. which we're gonna be climbing shit. We gotta get into that castle. I don't really know what we're gonna do. I'm gonna try the front door, and we'll see what happens. But basically, yeah, this is the end of the game. Just to kind of summarize what's been happening, I started this game on my vacation. I had 10 days off. I took the first 2 days to myself, get all stuff done, get caught up with real life endeavors so that I could wholeheartedly dedicate to Breath of the Wild, to which ended up happening. So the last,
Rivali's Gale is now ready.
Nice, I got everything here. The last, I don't know, about 8 days has been nothing but, pretty much nothing but generating time to play this game. And it's been a very enjoyable run. I've really liked it. I'm even considering perhaps picking up a Switch when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, because this was actually a pretty good game. I'm surprised. It definitely has its problems, but we'll wait for the review until after I beat it. I like to do that at the end during the credits and stuff. I try and talk about shit. But basically what we have in here is I did all the beasts, of course you have to, as side stuff. I did all the memories, which gave me the actual chest piece that you need to complete the artwork on the front of the game. This is his normal shirt. His pants you always have, and then he doesn't wear anything for a hat. But I put on some earrings because he doesn't wear anything for a hat. So I just put some shit on. Other than that, I'm not really sure. I got a expanded inventory for weapons. I have a fairly big collection of elementals from raiding the Colosseum. Took out one of the Lionels. And I did manage to upgrade the shirt once in the last stream, but I picked up the wrong dragon parts. And so now I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to go do the dragon stuff. You have to actually hit it in the horn and in the face, and that's kind of tough to do. But then in addition to that, they make it even harder for the other upgrades, and I can only upgrade twice anyway, so I didn't get the last fairy because it's $10,000 for the last fairy. Forget it. I don't care for that. So it's a little bit too much of a time investment. In addition to that, I got just enough shrines to pick up the Master Sword, and this thing's pretty cool. But the problem is that you're not supposed to use it until you're up against certain enemies like Ganon, and then I guess Ganon-like enemies or something. But it is cool. So we got that, and yeah. I had just enough hearts from the shrines to get the sword, is basically what I did. And then I have an extra bar of stamina right there. Just one extra full circle, which is the first thing I got. I homed in on that, which was really, really important. And again, I'll talk about all that stuff later. But yeah, so I did quite a bit. I would say maybe half. At this point, I'd say probably about half, maybe a little bit more of the stuff in the game I've done. There's still side quests that I totally didn't do. There's a lot of side quests I didn't do. There's all sorts of places I didn't explore. We have one final region that I have not even unlocked. I don't even know what's up here. I don't know what the point of this is. But I'm not going to worry about it. As long as it's not required of me, I'm not going to bother. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of stuff to do in the game if you really want to. There's tons of places that have their own little self-contained stuff. It's pretty neat. I like it, but yeah. So I think what we're going to go do is knock on the front door. We're just going to go see if we can walk through the front and see how difficult this is going to be. I hear it's pretty bad, but I got in here on the left side of the castle, the west wing. Yeah, the west wing. I managed to climb a tower and get on in there. So I'm going to do that if this direct approach is no bueno. We're going to give that a try. But I don't know. I haven't really... I do have a plan, kinda. Let's see here. What do you stasis? There's some strats that I haven't implemented against some enemies that might make this not so horrible. Just depends on how this goes. And I'm not wearing my usual armored outfit, which I played the whole game. I wanted to actually play with this tunic, but I was so wrapped up in just doing a bunch of random shit, I actually totally forgot to do that completely. So, whoops. But we're going to see about just going through the front door. What do you think we need to do here? We do have a little bit in the way. We do have a weird guy way down there. Let's see if we can sneak through here. The problem is that these weird guys are very, very good. We're gonna see if we can take them out because they reach very far. Damn. It didn't work. Okay, maybe I need a bigger sword. Man, I'm trying to... Man. Okay, this isn't working out. My idea definitely didn't work out. Look at this guy. He's just circle strafing me like crazy. Okay, maybe that's what I gotta do. Okay, we're gonna try that again. That was not... That didn't work out well at all. Shit. Okay, not a great start. Not a great start. I don't usually kill these guys. I only kill them once or twice to get like an upgrade to my abilities. But last time I was able to cleave off those legs real fast. I was not able to do that this time. That leg lasted a nice long time. So let's go ahead and grab the frost blade. Let's try this again here. We're gonna go up over here. Evade the weird flying guy. I hope I have enough, maybe I could use this garbage here as a defensive point. There we go. There we are. There we go. Damn, I broke my sword already. Okay, I don't want this one. I want this one. There we are. There we are. Wow. Cool. Okay, that was much better. So I need to stun it. Get in there. That was much better. But, you know, that did kill out my weapon like crazy. Like, now I've got less weapons to work with. Oh. Trying to hunt down randomly. That's okay. I think we got that. That worked out okay, right? That wasn't too bad. Let's see. Let's see if we can go up on this weird tower here. Yeah, and that should let us go. Should let us go through it in a weird way. I think maybe this is not the actual main gate. I think the main gate is that right there. You see that? We're gonna try and get up top and get a good vantage point. That's what I'd like to do. Now, I climbed one of these before. Let's see if we can do that again. There we go. You kind of have to find these little engraving parts here. Like that. It's a very oddly positioned climbable surface, right? Very odd. Oh. Oh. Damn. Well, that's why it's doing that. Okay, there was a lump there and I didn't see it. Oh. Go. Yeah, there's a lot of little lumps and stuff. That's kind of why you can't climb it, but also why it's easy to climb it. Motherfucker. And that resets my ability to climb up. And woo. That was a good sprint right there. Oh! Woo! Alright, great. Yeesh. Alright. So, that would have been the main building there. Let's see here. Doesn't look too bad. Damn, we got the good old music going, huh? So, let's see, how would we do this? There's a lot. This is a big place. It looks like, according to our map, the objective is just that big circle right in the middle. Well, not in the middle, but up on the top of the thing there. You could probably bypass a lot of it just by flying in, right? I do want to keep some of these on hand. Oh, look at this. The sword is glowing. So some of these enemies are going to take double damage because the sword glows. But I want to keep it alive so I can use it against Ganon. I don't know if it can die off in that state. I think maybe it doesn't die off if it's buffed like that. Let's go take a peek over here. I like this waterfall. I bet you could Zora armor up that waterfall. Yeah, this actually wasn't so bad. Look at that. Uh-oh, we got defensive turrets. Uh-oh, I'm stuck. Okay, how come I'm taking damage? Nice. I was taking damage because of that weird gunk underneath there. I didn't see that. I'm not really worried about loot at this point. Uh-oh, we got one of these guys, huh? Let's not contend with that right now. It's got 1,500 points. You see that? This is the first time I'm actually seeing the health bar on enemies, so. Oh! Okay, let's Zora armor up this, because I didn't realize I was going to fly down like that. God damn it. Let's go over here. It won't let me swim. There we are. There we go. Well, you know what? I just realized without any stamina, I got an idea. Okay, my idea didn't work because I forget that the controls don't let you jump off the damn wall. Shit. You can't jump off the wall. That's not a compatible move. Oh man, where am I? Oh, that's the waterfall I was just trying to get up. Okay, hang on. We're gonna stasis that guy. Yeah, this guy's range. See about getting up this thing here. Jeez. There we go. hell? Oh, what? What? There was a third beam. Oh god. Oh boy, don't do that. Oh, you son of a bitch. Alright, I don't want that. I don't like that. I'm gonna try that all again. That was a real sloppy attempt. Fucking Christ, there's all these weird things, and I don't even know where I'm going. Ugh. The controls have definitely been a problem in this game. They're very sensitive and they're very flighty. They kind of do their own thing. Whoa, where'd this rain come from? Were you raining when I first... Oh boy, this might be... I've never done this. I think maybe it's only when I jump. Okay, there we go. That's why it wasn't raining. In a different region with different weather. Okay, so, I didn't realize there were gonna be that many fucking gun turrets. That was a shit ton. That was a lot. I'm gonna try flying in again. But this time, I know what I'm up against. Come on, man. Sometimes this kind of terrain is not easy to work with. You just gotta kind of just have to keep working with it until it works. Didn't I save at the very tip? I swore I saved at the very tip. Oof. Yeah, I definitely saved up here last time. Unusual. Alright, whatever. Might be that there's no saving inside this place. That could be a thing. Yeah, this is wild. I'm gonna try using this Zora thing, and we're gonna try that again. Unless I want to try just normal climbing. But I like the Zora idea because I can catapult up the waterfall and try and fly in. Nice. Alright, we made a weird kind of progress. Sick. Give me that. Weird, real weird. Alright, what if I save in here? Because this... Okay, cool, it does let me save. So... I'm not quite high enough, though. Sanctum. Ooh, I made the Sanctum already? What about all that stuff down there? Man, I feel like I just bypassed the whole game. Look at all that weird stuff down there. Did I just bypass the whole game or what? Or do you go in here and then work your way down?
Link. Link.
You probably have to go down and find something and then come
sorry.
back up. Yeah, that.
My power isn't strong enough.
That's what I was thinking.
I can't hold.
This is like a dungeon. Ooh. Fuck. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Damn, a Balrog? Ooh. This is pretty sick. Damn. Look at that. giant centipede? Oh, let me just go in front of it. Nice spot. Damn, he's got the conch-eyed look. Calamity Ganon. Oh, that's Ganon, huh? That's him himself? Wow. He's got all these weird laser blades. Razor braids. Scourge Hyrule Castle. Sick.
Now my moment has finally
Oh, that's
come.
right. We gotta blast it with our
Get in
laser.
for the sting of my revenge.
This will be our final opportunity. We will not
I
fail.
feel like I just missed something though. I didn't even go through the castle. I just was able to fly onto it.
Let's go, little guy.
There's like a whole tunnel system in there.
Open up wide, Ganon.
100 years in the making. Hold on, princess. Our moment has arrived.
Still looking cockeyed. Ooh, shit. Oh, damn, look at the damage. Bring him to half-life right away. Ooh, but I gotta do the rest now. It's alright, I got the Master Sword. Cleaves through darkness. That's kind of cool. Nice. Fuck you up. You ready? Oh shit. Damn, I got hit with each and every one of them. Oh, okay. Oh, I can block that normally. Oh god, not when I'm charging shit up. What's going on here? Okay, hang on. But don't move that fast. Woohoo! That gun looks like a weak point, doesn't it? Oh, he's using all the moves from... Damn, motherfucker. He's using all the moves from the bosses we've already fought. Alright, that's cool. Let's go ahead and Iron Man a little bit. Do I have any little food? That's alright, we'll let it rock. Fuck. Oh! Damn. Got right on my ass. Man, I keep doing that. I keep hitting the crouch. Kid. What the hell was that? Ooh. Oh, what? Oh, jeez, I can't tell what's happening. There's no depth perception in this game whatsoever. Son of a... Man, that's wild. I shot it, but it still kept going. Damn, you can actually avoid it. Oh, mother of fuck. Okay, that didn't work out well. I'm trying to get fancy, I guess. God damn it. Chuck on one of these. I got plenty of food. I can be reckless. Can't block those. Those aren't real. That'll keep me. that's not gonna work. I didn't get any FaceTime. This is really awkward. I'm trying really hard to hit that. I want to hit that. Ugh. I jumped over it at least. Uh-oh. There's a lot of fire and I'm standing there. Oh, okay, we might have transported, teleported. Bug nasty! Yeah, I got shit tons of food. Oh, shit. What the hell? Invincible? What am I gonna do about that, huh? That looks pretty nasty. Bomb arrows? Okay, cool. How do I get him off this thing? Or maybe there isn't a way to get him off. What the hell's going on? Oh, that's fine. Get up just in time to be blasted again. I love it. That doesn't do anything. I didn't block it. Oh, he's invincible! He's totally invincible. Fuck. So how do I knock out that invincibility? That's the question. What am I gonna do? Yeah, these bombs are not working. Yeah, these bombs aren't working. They're not working at all. Even on a dead shot, they don't do nothing. I think it's because he's invincible, but... Well, he's not made of that. He's just covered in this stuff, man. I gotta figure out what to do. He's covered in this stuff. Hitting all the wrong buttons. I'm forgetting how to play. I just started. I don't know all the controls. The controls are the weirdest thing about this game. Oh god, he's got one of those. I hit maybe these. Can't block that. Can't hit me down there. Can't really see that one, can you? Damn, that thing's blocked too? How about his weird leg? Nope. He could hit you with that. Hitting the weapon's no good. Hitting the bomb is no good. Hitting his legs are not feasible. Have any other arrows? not really. Let me go ahead and use this guy's. Ancient arrow? Nothing. Nothing. Shock. Isaac? Is he made up of fire? Maybe I'm just supposed to fight him with arrows at this point. No, fuck me. So his whole body's just immaculate. If that's the case. That was interesting. Here he is. Vulnerable when he does the butt slam? So I just have to survive this. Interesting. So you gotta parry or you gotta dodge. That opens him up. He's stopping that before it actually hits me. Is that normal? Gotta get him to do the butt splash again. Either that is hitting me and I'm losing health. I'm just not animating or what, I can't tell. Oh, I do have to parry it. Oh, I forgot that there's fire on the I don't know what to do about this one. This is just guaranteed. He gets it. You can't stop it with arrows, so you just gotta take it on the chin. There's not much you can do. Maybe time stop it or something. You think stasis might do something? I could stasis him when he see, it still tracks you. Too long to dodge. No, I just gotta dodge and block a little bit better. That's all. I had the timing down earlier. I just gotta get the timing down again. I had good timing earlier, but now I'm getting too self-conscious about it. I'm not sure if you can actually parry that either. That one's a really wide shot. There we go. The problem is some the dodge and the parry are different timing windows, and I oftentimes mix them up. And I try to dodge with the precision of parry, and that gets you hit. You actually need to dodge like quite a bit before, not even like, but not too far before. It actually is a very difficult window because it's in such a weird spot. But I got it. That makes sense. Damn, did I just cleave off his armor? Damn, I gotta face a naked Ganon now? Will arrows work? This shit would be really hard without the double damage of the Master Sword. Wow, he exploded. There's gotta be another phase. I mean, there's always more than one phase. Ganon is notoriously a multi-phase boss. But maybe I get Zelda to do some holy arrows or something. That'd be nice. An updraft. He's just gonna leave me in this weird area. Oh, there we go. Zelda's gotten it covered. What are we doing out here? Whoa.
Ganon. Ganon was born out of a dark past. He is a pure embodiment of the ancient evil that is reborn time and time again. He has given up on reincarnation and assumed his pure, enraged form. If set free upon our world, the destruction will be unlike anything ever seen before.
Jesus Christ, how do you fight something this big? Dark Beast Ganon? Holy fuck.
I entrust you with the bow of light.
There it is.
A powerful weapon in the face of evil.
I was wondering if we were gonna get that.
You may not yet.
It's fucking
be at a
Balrog.
point where you have fully recovered your power, or all of your memories.
You may not? No, I already did it.
But courage need not be remembered, for it is never forgotten.
You have to actually pick up the bow. That's funny. Damn, 100 damage? 100 damage, huh? I wonder what you gotta hit, where you gotta hit him.
Covering Ganon's body is cold malice. None of your attacks will get through as he now has. I will hold the malice back as much as I can, but my power is waning. Attack any glowing points that you see.
Glowing parts? Damn. Is it his junk?
Victorious.
You need glowing parts. Like all of the fire? Oh, that. This might be a little hard. It's got me the trees. Okay, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Right in the turd cutter, huh? Damn, look at my arrow. That looks great. I can't actually hit him though, right? It's only the arrow that can do anything. I gotta get on the other side. Of course he smashed into the tiniest tree. Yeah, because I can't hit him with the sword anywhere. It looks like he's weakened. That's not the thing, but that isn't the case. I'm gonna have to go under his belly next, I'm sure. Well, maybe on his ass. Doesn't turn very hard, does it?
No!
Damn, a whip? Come on, man. There we go. The other one.
So close.
Uh-oh. It's getting dark. It's getting real grim dark. Where's there? Climb it? I want to climb it. Can I climb it? Can I climb it? I can totally climb it, right? Let's get on its ass. Let's climb up there. I'm gonna climb that ass. Oh shit, I can't climb it! Why can't I climb it? I want to thrust my sword into it. Are you kidding? What does that mean? I'm totally not sure what he's trying to say. Oh! Am I reaching that eye, or is it like closing before I touch it? It is closing! Okay, so I have to wait until he attacks. Then I can attack him. I think that's what she was trying to say. Seem to work. Maybe I can stasis it. Oh god. It's not working. Say shoot from. This music is getting irritating. Alright, so I can't just shoot at it. How do I shoot from on? Ah, okay, that's what it was. Okay, I was like, what? Oh, the bird power! Use updrafts. But were there any updrafts? I whipped out the thing and it didn't carry me up. But when I used my bird power, that got me up there. That's kind of weird because you could not have the bird power. You could be out and waiting for it to cool down. So does she have all 3 Triforces in this one? Dang. That looked good. I'll give it up. That looked really good. That's something about this story too. There's really no mention of the Triforces in this one. I kind of like the Triforce stuff. But this one is just like visually. Oh! What a good time to resub, man. Ooh, 2 years? Thanks for that resub. But shush! We're watching the lore, man. We just beat this game.
I've been keeping watch over you all this time. I've witnessed your struggles to
All this
return
time?
to us,
Especially
as
the
well
times
as
I
your
was on the
trials in
waterbed?
battle. I always thought, no, I always.
Thanks for that
believed
sub again, man. Appreciate it.
that you
2
would
fucking
find a
years?
way to defeat Ganon. I never lost faith in you over these many years. Thank you, Link. The hero of Hyrule.
Dang.
May I ask,
Yeah, we could fuck.
do you really remember me?
Do I have to actually answer that? Breath of the Wild 2? Oh, Breath of the Wild 2. You know, that's the thing I don't like about these. The endings for games these days are so over, you know? It's just so immediately over. Oh, come on. There's got to be more, right? RPGs do a real good job of showing everyone enjoying the new world. Man, I think I just got Cliffed. I think I just got Clifford the dog. Clifford the dog. Oh. Alright, alright. Hold up. Let's see here. Pop up my sound. No, that's not it. Volume mixer. Here we are. Alright. Let's chill out on the tunes. Well, maybe I could just... I'm gonna bring it down a bit. I'm just gonna bring it down a peg. Alright, there we go. So listen. Good game, alright? I think I've been saying that a lot, but this is the time where I like to review the shit. So, right off the bat, I think I've said enough good things throughout the whole thing. It's been fun, but let's talk about the shit. So that's what I like to do. But first off, Likes Hot Sauce, once again, thanks for that 2-year resubscription. Man, you know, I thought Mr. Mammoth would be the longest running guy. You have utterly surpassed. And when did you join us? Yakuza? You came in on the motherfucking Yakuza stream. Okay, I'm getting off tangent. Thanks again. Shitty things about this game. The number one shitty thing that I personally don't really like about the game, okay? This is more of a my opinion part. I don't like the story. I think the story is kind of whack. This whole cataclysmic event thing, and then you come in 100 years later, not a fan. I'm not really a fan. I don't really like that setup. In addition to that, there was nothing to do with the Triforces, and Link was already a knight, apparently, working with Hyrule. I'm not a fan of any of that. My Link is a random wood elf that hangs out in Cockatrice Forest, or whatever it's called, and after some weird event, he gets mysteriously called over to defend the princess. You know, that's my Link. I like that. That is a great background because it lets Link be a lot more in the world. He's not just the Knight of the Prince. He's not just another person. He is a hero that comes out of nowhere. The Earth jizzes out Link whenever he's needed and lives a nice life somewhere until the moment arrives and you play his game and then you beat it, and then he lives it just like Ocarina of Time, and maybe that's why I like it. Of course, there's been a lot more before that, but Ocarina had a really great story that when he was done being completely successful, he fucking fucks off and does his own thing in Majora's Mask. He's not even doing anything with Zelda in there. I like that. He is a great character that either falls in love with Zelda or doesn't. It's like you can take Link and do anything you want with him. Sounds like Shadow of the Mordor game where you come out of nowhere. Yeah, you just kind of come out of nowhere. You're just an elf in a forest, destined for great things, but you're just a dude, and then you come out a hero. You know, I like that. And then once you become the hero, you can go anywhere. This one is very clearly, you're only gonna see this place. You're only gonna see this Zelda, and this is it. You know, you're really tied together. And it's fine if you take that story and you make Link and Zelda a pair, and that's what Link does with his life. But that's a choice that he gets to make. In this one, though, that choice isn't there. He was already a knight. He was already with Zelda. He was already a knight like his father, whatever the hell they were saying there. So I don't like that as much. Yeah, no Triforces, and this kind of post-cataclysmic thing, finding memories and stuff, I didn't like that. I didn't really like that side at all. That aside, yeah, story, I wouldn't say it was trash. I just personally don't like it. I think it's one of the weaker stories of a Zelda game that I've played. Not as less memorable as like fucking Wind Waker or some shit. I don't even remember playing Wind Waker and I beat it, so yeah, the story was just remembering shit, and then eventually you just kill Ganon. You know, it was really, I don't like that. It's all like this, Ganon's there, you're gonna destroy him, but you first, I don't like the stories that are, but first, you know, here's the main bad guy, he's over there, you gotta kill him, but first, you know, I don't like that. It's just this carrot sitting way in the distance for 60 hours, you know, it's like, come on, man, just let me, I like a story that progresses as you go. So that's I think my only personal problem I can think of right now. That personally, I don't like the story. I think objectively, it's just a story, and everybody else has their taste. I don't like it. But now let's talk about some facts. I like the facts. This is where I get to shit on all the facts. Degradation of weapons, how they break. You can't repair them. They break. I'm with everybody else on that. I don't like it. Everything breaks way too fast. I like the idea in general. I like the idea of grabbing some weapons and fucking shit up. But I don't like the idea that weapons break way too quick. I mean, you just swing a few times and it's gone. I'm a guy who really develops a bond with the weapons he uses, so my natural state is wanting to bond over a weapon. The Master Sword even breaks. It's a good sword. The thing that is interesting is the Master Sword has a pretty good stat line. It's not as good as a royal sword, but it's a pretty good stat. It's like 30 compared to 36 or something. And then when you come up against the main bad guys, it doubles in damage. It goes to 60. That's really cool. But it needed to have no durability issue, because then I would always have the sword that I could bond with, and it would feel... That's another thing about the story I guess I didn't mention. I mean, the Master Sword really doesn't play much of a part. It's kind of featured, but... they're just kind of like, oh, by the way, you had a sword that cut evil, you know? Like, by the way, you had that sword, don't worry about it, you know? You don't even need the sword. You could go through without the Master Sword, which is just bonkers to me. That's fucking Zelda's core, is the goddamn sword, right? The Triforce, the S-word, and like a random dude coming out of some forest. Like, that should be the essence of Zelda, and you can do whatever you want with that toolkit. But they completely changed it in this one, so I didn't like that. But more importantly, degradation of weapons, didn't like it. I like the idea of just grabbing weapons and using them, stealing them from the enemy so the enemy can't use them. I like that. He drops it and shit, that's cool. But I just felt like they degraded too fast. And like I said, I like permanently making weapons mine and my personal playstyle. So it would have been nice if they had an option to make a sword, either the Master Sword, or maybe you could just choose a weapon unbreakable, you know? Just give me a weapon, make it unbreakable, that's my weapon. And then if other people want to play with the mechanics of, you know, breaking all sorts of shit all day, that's totally fine. But mechanics and exploring were pretty fucking impressive. So I hated the degradation. I'm trying to shit right now, Buck Nasty. I'm trying to shit on things. I'm trying to come up with things to shit on. Oh, hold up. I think maybe we might have a stinger. Hang tight. Maybe not. There might not be a stinger at all. We'll see. We'll see. We'll put on pause for a minute. We'll put on pause. The review was on pause. Okay, hang on. We got a little ending segment. Damn, I'm gonna have to edit my little review now. Fuck. Yeah, right. Marvel movie. No, the Avengers is still coming. The game, the Avengers, the game, it looks terrible, by the way. I'll play it. I'll definitely play it. It looks horrendous. Yeah, there's an Avenger game coming out. It's a third person... Excuse me. It's a God of War beat 'em up. It's styled in the latest God of War. That might have been the extra scene that you get when you do all the memories. Because I did all the memories, I got an extra scene. And that might have been it. Or maybe this is it. I honestly don't know. We're gonna check out our big ass again?
Divine Beast Varuta. Looks like it's stopped working. Let's investigate the situation. Miva's father. I believe he would like to hear more about her. The least we can do is visit him and offer him some closure. Although Ganon is gone for now, there is still so much more for us to do, and so many painful memories that we must bear. I believe in my heart that if all of us work together, we can restore Hyrule to its former glory. Perhaps even beyond, but it all must start with us. Let's be off.
At least the tune is good. Oh.
Ooh. I can no longer hear the voice inside the sword. I suppose it would make sense if my power had dwindled over the past 100 years.
Them cheeks, though.
I'm surprised to admit it, but I can accept that.
Damn, it's good tunes. Big boss. I was gonna say those cutscenes, that credit kind of rolled pretty quickly though. Wow, it rolled pretty quick, but I guess that's that. Okay, great. So, cool. So here's the thing. That part there kind of plays into what my problem sort of was. This really is a lot about Zelda, which I guess is fine. That's not really the problem. But it really is kind of a problem that it shoves Link into this generic spot, and yet you play as Link. I would have liked it if you had played as Zelda, discovering how she becomes a goddess person. I mean, if you want a Zelda story, let's play that character. You know what I mean? I guess I'm shitting further on the story. Anyways, let me recap really quick what we said before, because I'm gonna have to edit my fucking video now. I don't like doing that. Story is, personally, I don't really like it. Like I said before, I don't really like the whole deal. And then the weapon degradation, that's more of a mechanical thing I don't like. I don't like that. I think a lot of people hated that. But at the same time, I like the general idea. It wasn't implemented very well. If they gave me an option to like really hone up on one weapon, maybe make it extremely durable, or make it permanently durable, or something like that, I would have liked that. I would have liked that a lot. There's a couple of swords in the game that I thought were really cool, and I would have stuck with them. Maybe even let me upgrade them so that they're, competitive with all the other weapons. Maybe. that might ruin the whole idea of grabbing weapons while you're running around the world thing, but I think that it should be a question of, do I want to spend the resources? And plus, it's only one weapon. You've got all these other kinds of weapons, and if other people want to play with other weapons, they have the same option, you know? And naturally, you could balance that out so one weapon isn't completely overblowing everything else. But that's like a real mechanical problem. Story is kind of my opinion. I think that mechanic wasn't implemented well. Other issues? I think the shrines were ridiculous. I think the shrines were way too many. There's 120 shrines. If you do them all, you get Link's old-fashioned outfit from the original. That's cool outfit, but 120 shrines, and each one is just a random puzzle piece. They're all separate and individual stuff. I didn't like that. I mean, some of them were cool, but most of them were actually like a direct use of your power. A lot of them were repeats, where you're just doing a major, minor, moderate test of strength, which is, what are you doing? And yeah, why are you making 120 puzzles and half of them are just kind of reused major, minor, whatevers? That's I don't get it. And then that rolls into my other point that I dislike, that I definitely am shitting on the game for. No dungeons. The shrines and the divine beasts replaced the dungeons. And actually, the divine beast I didn't mind so much. That was kind of dungeon-like. I sort of liked it. It was a bit more self-contained in a dungeon, but I'm cool. But it's still a far cry from a real dungeon, which gives you tools. You get to use those tools immediately. Sometimes they tie these dungeons so that you need a previous tool, which is always kind of enjoyable. It does kind of railroad you into doing certain things in certain ways. Maybe goes against the whole open world aspect of this game, but you can't ignore the fact that dungeons are cool. We like them. That's our Zelda thing, and we want more dungeons. Even if it means sacrificing some of the ability to do certain dungeons in certain orders. That doesn't really bother me. I think that, I mean, and in some dungeons you can have the be open. Some dungeons can be actual tool required. Others, but make it clear that that's the tool you need to progress. And then in the other dungeons, make them open. So it's totally feasible. You can work with dungeons. I don't like that they stepped away from it. I like them too much. I think they were iconic. They're part of the system. And you can have those dungeons in this open world. That's not a problem. Skyrim has dungeons. That's all Skyrim does, is ruins all day long. It's totally feasible. They're not the best, and they don't have really cool like tools and shit that let you go through them. They're not puzzle pieces. It's not a platformer game. But still, you can do it that way, where it becomes the dungeon is the puzzle, yada yada. I think that's a lot better than shrines. Shrines are just needless busy work. I didn't see a point. I guess that's really about it. I kind of wish we had more swimming options. I kind of wish we had more flight options, but I'm not going to shit on those. Those are not mechanical things to shit on. Those are just, I wish I had them. So, yeah, that's largely what I think about the game in terms of shitting all over it. Now, even with a lot of that shit, I still think this is a good game. I actually like it. And this is coming from a guy who plays a lot of fucking trash-ass games. On top of all the crap that we see there, underneath it is a lot of really good basic gameplay that is fun. Climbing shit is really nice. Eating food, cooking food is a interesting subsystem that I actually was getting into a bit. I liked having a plethora of random foods to have on hand. I liked that it made it so I could over-prepare and have a ton of health so that I could sit at a boss and figure out the mechanics. Granted, I didn't take all that much time, but it's nice that I could sit at a boss and eat up all the damage, while I figure out how to handle it. That's a nice scenario to have. Casual, maybe, but Zelda is a casual game, and so that is totally in line with how it should work. I like that a lot. Combat in general, I'm not going to shit on it, but I don't think it's very good. I think the combat is just okay. It's a very basic combat. If we were to pick it apart, why do you have a parry? What's the point of parry? I mean, you could dodge everything and get a flurry. You parry something and nothing. You just get a normal 4-hit swing or 2-hit swing. Two-hand swords seem to suffer a lot from having a really slow wind-up speed that you cannot make any faster. You can't make it faster, and that was causing me to be unable to hit certain enemies. And in a game where you have to grab the nearest weapon, sometimes you're only left with two-hand weapons, and that's it. And you're stuck having to hit this guy with your big sword, you know, and he's a fast guy and it takes forever. I didn't like that part of it, but at the same time, the combat itself was largely unintrusive. It was pretty straightforward. I didn't feel like anything was in my way. I could commence with the combat, and it was pretty fluid for the most part. Just try and get that flurry in there, try and get that dodge, and you can block while you're dodging, so that kind of helps out a bit. That worked out pretty good. It was an okay combat system that definitely needs more depth, and I really hope does get some more depth in the next one. Climbing's awesome, combat's awesome, food is really nice. I think that was a cool subsystem. The mechanics of the game seem to work out pretty well. I do need to shit on. There is something I want to shit on just a bit. The controls are just frustrating enough for me to not like them, but they were largely not terrible. I've played a whole lot worse, but some of the controls, and now this is also a thing where I'm using the emulator, and I'm using this fucking thing right here, right? I'm emulating with a DualShock. There's no way I can say for sure this is how it really controls. But I've been talking to chat, and chat tells me that it does control a little wonky. The way that you move Link around, he will not turn on a dime. He kind of moves forward and then turns. Every once in a while, the controller might flick backward. These are things that happen on a normal controller. On a Switch or on a Wii U, the native devices also have these issues. So that tells me that they programmed it in to be not very precise. And that's a problem, because there are a lot of things where, like, I'm trying to jump off the wall and I hold back on the joystick and he jumps to the side or up. And I'm like, I gotta jump back. But the control doesn't know that's what I'm trying to do, so it doesn't do it. It drains all my stamina, and then I fall into the ocean and die. So what would normally be an issue that's like, this is kind of annoying, is now, okay, this is actually annoying, because I have died maybe 2 or 3 times to that exact situation, and it's not very fun to deal with. It's just like, I'm wrestling with the controls, and as you know, I am a huge component of having very tight, good-feeling controls. This one is good to play the game, but when you need to get precise about it, it does tend to have some nasty parts, which I think I can largely excuse because a lot of games have that stuff. You can't make a perfect game. It really can't. It's just too hard. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it is a point I want to bring up, but I don't want to shit too hard on it, because it is something that a lot of games tend to have. They have little parts that are annoying, but these little parts are made worse because you have a stamina bar, and if one of those little things kick in while you're low on stamina, well, might as well just fucking take the hit or fall down and get back up there. A waste of time. You could jump back off cliffs. So you can't jump back off cliffs if the controller doesn't allow you to. There are certain situations where the camera doesn't register you as pressing back on your controller. It is in relation to where Link is trying to go and in relation to what your camera is positioned to at the time. So if you try and hold back and you're looking to the side, you have to hold like down, I think, or away. I could never figure it out, because sometimes I would have the camera dead on Link, I'd press back and it would work. I would do to the side, press back, it wouldn't work. He would do a side jump. So there is something about the control that wasn't precise. And again, that is something that I've heard in chat, so I can only assume that it is something that happens in the real version of the game. It maybe is worse in this emulated version. It's possible. But in general, it sounds like it's something that exists. And now, because it exists, and you have stamina to worry about, that can be a problem. That can be a problem, and that can be frustrating. But, once again, this doesn't overshadow the fact that, for the most part, it is an enjoyable experience of running around and exploring stuff. It's just when you need to be precise, which happens a handful of times in the game, that's going to happen every once in a while. You just got to eat it up. It's a frustrating moment. You just move past it. It sucks that it's there, and I would have loved to have seen something to clean that up, but like I said, I'm not shitting it that hard on this particular point. This is just something I want to bring up. For the most part, I think the exploration mechanics were good. I loved climbing. I loved jumping around. I think jumping and dodging, I don't like losing control of Link after I would get hit. He would roll around the ground for hours. You know, I wish you could just get right back up. I wish you could jump and do it. It's not working. It just doesn't work. You're just rolling around on the floor. Yeah, I tried all that shit. I mean, I played this game for, I don't even know, it's probably been 60 hours or something, but it's definitely one of those things where it's just the controls are finicky at that point. You know, they can't get that precise. And this is something that are in games. When you play as many games as I have, you actually experience this kind of trouble a lot. It's just most games don't really put a giant emphasis or even a moderate emphasis on that kind of precision. This one does, because you could be out of stamina and now you're going to eat shit. So, but most games don't really have that. If a little bit of imprecision here and there is an annoyance, you know, usually a minor one. But in this one, what would just be an annoyance can actually get you killed. So it's, you know, a little bit more like that. Bedtime. Hey, have a good one, like Sauce. Thanks again for the resub, man. I appreciate it. And for joining me for the ending of this game. Again, the game was really fun. And getting back to the fun. Exploration's great. I like the climbing and all that stuff. What else is there? Fucking... Yeah, the ending was probably better than the middle. There's a lot of... I like that there's a lot that you can do. So the general idea of this game is just that it is a flat... It is a wide but flat surface. So there's a lot to do, but there's not a lot of depth to anything. This is very much a Skyrim approach, and in Zelda's terms, I think this actually works. I don't think it works so well for Skyrim, because Skyrim comes from a very deep, mechanically rich series of games that generally started getting dumbed down in the last few entries. Skyrim suffers the most of that dumbing down, and it becomes a very shallow pool. In Zelda... I would say it's even more shallow in Zelda than it is in Skyrim. But they do a very good job of making lots of different looking places. No copy paste that I could ever possibly see. It feels like this was hand drawn. I mean, from the ground up, it feels like this whole thing was hand drawn. But Skyrim, Bethesda, they reuse art assets like crazy. Which means you are going to see the exact same cliff, mountain, rock, ground, dirt, whatever. You're going to see it all over the place, and they're going to call that your world. This one, everything is unique and different. I couldn't possibly tell you if there was any copy-paste in here, because it all looks wildly different. And that's great. I like that a lot, and that's why it works in this kind of a game. It's shallow, but it is so wide, and everywhere you go has such a unique look and thing to it that it's really, really enjoyable to actually just explore and just look at shit all day. And now this is another thing that I have to concede, because I was going to shit on it, and I shat on it the moment I started playing the game. I don't like cel shading. I don't like it. Twilight Princess is one of my favorite titles simply because it looks like a video game. It looks great. I love the look. It's a video game. This is a weird cartoon video game, and I hated it when I first got it. But I don't know what kind of weird trickery they managed to do, but everything looked so good that I stopped caring that it was cel shading and that it was cartoony and weirdly bright and everything's kind of faded. I stopped caring about that because everything just looked nice. The environments were great and the interactions were good. So I'm actually rather surprised that it worked out as well. I mean, that speaks to the credit of this game, that it actually looks as good as it does when it's cel shading, and I personally just don't like it. I don't like cel shading. And yet I'm a fan. I think it works out great. Obviously, the next game's going to be the same way. So, I mean, it works. I'm not even... normally, I would say something like, maybe they should make it a little better next game. There's really nothing they need to do. I think reusing the exact same style for the next game is probably going to suit them just fine. I don't think there really is a need to change it or nothing. So yeah, the visual's good. The exploration, all the mechanics, I mean, they come together and they work, and they come together to work to make an enjoyable experience. Once you start getting precise, that starts to break down, and you get a little bit more trouble, but thankfully, a lot of those precise moments are still pretty far and few. You're not going to get them very often. Most certainly, you don't have to when it comes to bosses, which is really good. Really, I think the only thing I would definitely suggest with this kind of a game, more meat in the combat would feel really good. Do something about durability, either remove it or tweak it, adjust it, make a sizable change to durability, because the way that it is in this game right now feels more like a chore. And I don't like finding a cool weapon just to have it break in 3 swings. I don't like it. Combat needs to be deeper. Weapon degradation needs to be heavily adjusted, changed, removed, whatever. There's a lot of things they could do that would be just fine. Tighter controls, but I mean, I think the controls are pretty okay where they're at. I'm not even really, I don't even think they need to make them tighter. It would be great if they could, but it could be a technical limitation. And if it is, then oh well, we'll just have to suffer the imprecision. Most of the time, the imprecisions are not going to be a problem. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see some dungeons in the next one. I'd like to see a story that's more about Link I would like to see something more about Link, because this Link is just so backseated. It's all about Zelda in this movie. It's really about Zelda, which is normally fine, but you don't get to play her. You don't get to play as her. You get to play as Link, and he's just generic knight anime hero in this one. It's like, come on, man. Link is way more interesting than that. He's got a lot of cool shit. He is the embodiment of courage. He is not just a courageous person. He is the actual manifestation of the courage generated in part by the Triforce of Courage. And then the Triforce of Wisdom is Zelda, which that's kind of why this character of Zelda is a little whack to me. Zelda has doubted herself before, but she has never broken down over it because she has a Triforce of Wisdom. She is wise, and thus she never really breaks down that hard, but she has doubt, she has fears, she's still a human being. But with the Wisdom Triforce, she is at least a very knowledgeable person. You know what I mean? So it's upsetting that they completely did away with all that, and I'm really hoping the next one maybe reintroduces the Triforces as like a means of what life is supposed to be or something. I mean, because we don't really know what the next one's about at all. We just saw some clips here and there, some weird dark shadowy boss thing. But if the Triforce actually plays a role where you're more trying to understand the nature of Triforce, even if it ends up just being it was inside your heart all along, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. If Link is the Triforce of Courage because he is courageous, that's great. But just making him a dude who's just really brave, it's like, all right, but not nearly what I relate with Zelda or Link or anything. So, and I've always wanted to see a game where the Triforce of Power switches hands. Maybe Link gets the Triforce of Power, and then he has to learn the difference between utilizing power and power utilizing him. And he gets to learn what it's like that Ganon becomes the thing. The Triforce of Power turns him into an evil incarnation, or maybe the Triforce of Power facilitated it, And then you get to explore those questions through Link, who is a courageous person, even if he didn't have the courage Triforce or whatever, I like all those ideas. They're great ideas, but I don't think a lot of those will be in the next one. The next one, I really don't know what they're going to do. It's probably going to be more just its own thing, like whatever this was. So probably just its own thing. But as a fan of Zelda, I still like this game. I like the story was not very good, but I'm hoping the sequel might pick up a little bit more on some of the tropes of Zelda and kind of bring back a lot of that stuff. Dungeons would be great. A little bit more, even just a little bit more on the combat front. I'll take it. Anything on the combat would be great. Better degradation, kind of remove it, do whatever you can. I think that's really all I would ask for in another one. This is the other thing too, right? I shit on the game for the faults, but I'm walking away from this game really enjoying it. And I'm actually right now, at least in this very moment, I am considering buying a Switch just to play Breath of the Wild 2, which I've never done since the Nintendo 64 days. I usually, like I said, the tradition of me is to play these games one title entry behind the latest one. And so now, literally, when I started playing this, maybe not even a month ago, they whatever E3 was, they announced another game. So it's like, fuck. It's like, fuck. I'm behind the title again. I better play Breath of the Wild. Now that I have played it, I like it enough that I would actually want to invest in a $200 console, maybe even a $300 console system, just to play the sequel. And that's it. That's all I would do with the system. I wouldn't buy anything else. Maybe Super Mario or something, but you were having a blast 90% of the time. The show for 20 minutes. So the thing is I'm very critical about games because I'm old and jaded. And the thing is that I know games can be a hell of a lot better than they are these days because I've played them. They used to be a lot. They sacrifice a great deal in these modern games for the visual aesthetics because that's what the market tells them to do. But that's never been the case with me. And I don't think that's been the case with a lot of people who actually like video games. You know what I mean? It's no different than any other industry. You get people who are in it on a superficial level. You get others who are in it that are just, they know everything in the past about it. These two groups will always have differing opinions on what makes a good thing. And in my opinion, I've always felt playing a game was more important and more enjoyable than looking at a game. In this game, a lot of the fun is in looking at stuff, and they managed to make it unique enough that I like looking at it. But I would be a lot happier is if they had more combat, more mechanics, more things to chew on, more of a deeper system. But that's not casual friendly. So even though I shit on a lot of the stuff that I was talking about, I don't even really feel like I shat that much on it. I spent most of this review talking about how much I like it. It's just, it could be better. It really could be better. And it's hard not to express a desire to see a better version of this game because what they have done so far is really, really cool. They could do really cool stuff in a different way and appease me as the grognard, you know what I mean? They could just do some deeper stuff and I would be hooked, you know? I would have, what would it even be like? It would be like playing Tekken 7 for the first time. Oh my god, that game completely absorbed me. It was deep and complex. It looked good. It played good. Mashers love smashing on the buttons. I love actually learning how to play it. That is how I could feel about this game. If it had a little bit more complexity to the combat, a little bit more to chew on, a little more meat, you know, just a little bit more. I was already dodging and parrying things pretty easily right at the start of the gate, you know, because that's what it is. They just didn't do too deep on it. So I don't mean to shit on it, you know, over all the other good shit. You got to understand that I shit on it because I want it to improve. But the shit is only like you said, 95% of the time I think I enjoyed the game. I would agree around the 90% area. The 10% were just real finicky, small stuff. And the design decisions in general don't really hold back my entertainment, but if I get this game again, if this game comes back to me on the same plate, on the same platter, in the same fashion, and all it is a different boss, maybe a bit of a different area because they would have evolved. Hopefully they're going to do a few years later, so things would have built up. I don't really think I would be into it. I don't want to play Breath of the Wild again. I want to play a new, improved, heavily different, well, not heavily different, but I want it to be a different experience. A different Breath of the Wild. And that's not going to happen if I sit here and say everything about this game is great. You know, if I say everything about this game is great, I give it, 10 out of 10 IGN scores, I get 100% on Metacritic, it doesn't make the game, when it comes around again, better. It just makes it stale. And what happens when things get stale? You get the fucking Elder Scrolls treatment, where Oblivion comes out, loses a bunch of mechanics, and then Skyrim comes out, and you lose a bunch of mechanics. You become stale. Stiff, bored, casual. It just, whatever term you want to use, it becomes less of a thrill to play the game. This was a really fun game to play. I don't want to play it again. I don't want to play this specific game again, and I don't want to play a sequel that plays like this again. I want to play an improved, better version of this game. And that's what the second one could be, if they listen to that kind of criticism I'm dropping. Again, the game is great. I think it's really fun. But there are some things I want to see to make the next one a 110% endorsement. Because again, if I want to play the next one, I got to spend $300 on a system, and hopefully that includes Breath of the Wild 2 when I do that. And then I'll probably want to buy the $60 controller that comes with the Switch. I don't want to use the little Joy-Cons. It's a money thing, man. Like, that's why I do these reviews. It helps you guys get a little bit more of an idea of what your money is going to when you buy a game. You know, how much would you spend on a game, and yada yada. I'm telling you right now that I would more than happily buy a Breath of the Wild 2 if I was told degradation was adjusted or removed, and the story, actually, maybe just the degradation would do it. I'll be honest with you, if just the degradation was adjusted or removed, I think that might actually be enough for me to spend the money I need to pick this shit up. Yeah, you can use the same mechanics, but you need to improve on them somehow. I mean, I don't know how they... That's the thing. That's the problem that I can't really... Because I can tell you what you need to do, but I can't give you the specifics, because the simple fact is, there's a lot of ways to improve this system to make it more engaging, to make it funner. But every time you make things more fun, you add extra busy work. And likes Hot Sauce, and probably you, Buck Nasty, most likely love this game because of the factored in simplicity of the game. It's very simple. It's a simple game. You swing your sword, you block the attacks, you can parry, and you can dodge. This is about as easy as if you were playing a first-person shooter, recognizing that your mouse button shoots your gun, and that your cursor in the middle of your screen is where your bullets go. This is the adventure game equivalent of a first-person shooter. It is just that you can naturally get into it. Thankfully, the game does a lot of other things other than combat, so it's okay to have a combat system that is very bare. However, if you're going to do this a second game, I think that would be a problem, because we've already experienced a lot of this. Yeah, but mastering isn't fun if there's not much depth to it. When you talk about mastering something, you want to master something complex. You don't want to master exactly when you want to parry something. I parried the Lionel a bunch of times, and if I was a master of it, I would have parried him all the time. But who wants to sit there and learn to parry one specific guy 100% of the time? That's not fun. And what do I get for that parry? Very little. The reward isn't that much. In the case of that Lionel thing, it gives me the ability to hit him a few times, and that's it. In Dark Souls, if you parry a guy, you virtually kill him. And in some bosses, if you parry a guy, you do a shit ton of damage. Tell that to Counter-Strike players. Counter-Strike players, it's very difficult because a first-person shooter, you're not mastering Counter-Strike's shooting. You're mastering Counter-Strike the meta, or the game in general. For Zelda, when you master the combat, you're not getting anything more out of it. I mean, why master a system that you 90% have a comfortable ability with? That's what I'm saying. Let's use the fighting game analogy again. If we were talking about a fighting game, and I wanted to master a character in a fighting game, what does that give me? Gives me the ability to fight other players who are just as advanced as I am, right? Maybe even challenge the players that are more advanced than I am. What if I want to perfect the same thing here in the combat system here? Not just parrying, but the whole combat system as is in Breath of the Wild. What does that give me? I might be able to take out some monsters more efficiently. That means I would use less food, use less arrows. I guess that's good. But food isn't hard to get. Arrows is a bit of a pain in the ass to get, actually. I had a hard time getting arrows. So maybe there's that. But is that worth the time? and the dedication it takes to get good at that system. When you're killing something 90% efficiency, do you want that 10%? In a game like Zelda, there's really no point. Unless you're a big fan of the game, there's really no point. It's a personal thing for that 10%. But in a fighting game, I mean, that's a huge thing. That 10%, if you were 90% efficient in a fighting game, that meant that you might be able to hit top 8 in a big tournament, right? That 10% gets you into top 8 and past it all the way to first place, right? So that's what I mean to say. You make a fine point, Buck Nasty. And you gotta understand, I can appreciate that you love this game very much, which is why you're kind of, questioning what I have to say. Don't ever do that again. I'm just joking. But listen, it's totally fine. I'm just trying to explain my viewpoint here. That's all I'm trying to say. The simple fact is I think there needs to be more to combat, because even though you can't master this system, I mean, you could if you want to. I just don't see why you would. I could see speedrunners doing it for sure, but as a normal guy, I don't feel any pull to get better at the system, because I can take out the monsters, I can do what I need to do. Personally speaking, I didn't take out those dragons with the horns. That's combat. I needed to shoot the horn and get the pieces to upgrade my tunic, which would have meant that I took less damage when I got hit by Ganon all those times. Which really wasn't a problem because I had food, but still, I could have gone over to those dragons and done it. That would have been mastering the system. I didn't need to do it, and I would have happily done it, but I decided not to because I didn't really want to engage in the system anymore. I've been doing it a lot. Weird when you're shitting on small tidbits of mechanics when you were still a little rough. So, the thing is that the mechanics that I was having trouble with can't be mastered. How do you master? Well, I mean, I guess it's how you phrase it, really. You can master an RNG system, right? You can master a randomly generated number system. But in what way have you mastered it? You know what I mean? It's just like, how did you master it? Is it that you can always get a good number, or is it that you know when a good number is coming? How do you master something? You know what I mean? The controls are something that are a mystery to me. And the more that I engage with the controls, the more that they became asinine. So it wasn't a matter of mastering the controls. The mastering the controls would have been, I can handle any situation. In this scenario, mastering the controls, for me, meant staying away from the situations that I can't do what I need to do. So I would actively go out of my way to not pursue certain avenues of exploration because I was too concerned that my precision would not be there when I needed it the most, when my stamina would be low. And even in the end of the game, I tried doing it in the castle. Maybe I'm just not explaining myself well. Fuck you? Alright, I totally get it. That's just fine. You can tell me to go fuck myself. I understand. You know what? I'm even gonna say, don't fuck you. That's what I'm gonna say. Don't fuck you, Buck Nasty. I respect your opinion in this matter. You see these as small tidbits of mechanics, but when you're playing a game for 60 hours or some shit, I mean, even the smallest thing. And again, you know me very well. Controls are a huge thing. I'm all about controls. If the control is silky smooth like my tongue, then I'm in heaven. I am in heaven. I'm in rhythm heaven. You know, I love a silky smooth control system. But this one does really well. I mean, it does really well. It's definitely nowhere near trash. But at the same time, I don't want to say that it's great. I would say that it's good. Like, let's just say, let's say like Assassin's Creed, right? I don't think Assassin's Creed, in any of the Assassin's Creed, I don't think the controls are good in any of them. I think they're all whack. The closest that we got in 4, I would actually say the controls are pretty okay. And that's the best Assassin's Creed yet, was Black Flag. That one is a very similar system, and it does a lot worse with the controls. This one beats out all of the Assassin's Creed games easily in terms of controls. It does... Most of the time, it does exactly what you want it to do. It's just those times where it doesn't that can be frustrating, and it's unique in this game because you have a stamina bar, and it can result in your death. So that's the only reason why it's unique. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother with it. I wouldn't even say anything. I would just, well, I would say something, but I wouldn't even care. What I'm trying to say is, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. No, this is a really big title game. This is the other thing, though. I'm really surprised that I like this game. I came in here thinking I wouldn't like it. It's just a game of Zelda. Zelda's been, and this is a girl's game, man. I don't know. I don't like saying it that way. I really don't. But I don't know how else to phrase it. This is a very, man, how else do I say it? I really can't find the words. You come into this thing, it's bright, it's colorful, it's easygoing. It's very clear what you're gonna do. The story seems very approachable. Everything it's just wildly absorbable. The way the characters act and interact, what they say, their dialogue, everything really feels bright. Man, it's so hard to explain. Everything is really designed like if a girl were to make Zelda, I feel like this is a really good shot at making a game for a girl. I think maybe the best part is how effeminate Link looks. He's very skinny. He's got none of the physique of the other Links. Now, Link has never been muscular exactly. He is an elf. But they make no attempt at making this guy here seem like a warrior. He doesn't look like a warrior. He looks really small. Milady, exactly. Tip of the fedora. But, I don't even want to complain about that. It's just that this is a very casually appreciative game. It's a very casually appreciative game. It's not even as Skyrim's more difficult. You get one shot. Well, the thing is there was a lot of shit that was one-shotting me in this game too. So I can't even say that. A lot of times I would get hit by something and I would have one heart or one piece of a heart left, and I would think to myself, that must be a failsafe. This guy must do this much damage all the time. And it doesn't matter if you have your gear upgraded or whatever. This guy, when he hits you with this move, this is as much damage as it does. That's what I kept thinking in my head, because it just seemed like upgrading my stuff didn't really matter that much. It just didn't seem... I was barely taking any damage from Ganon there, and I'm wearing an unupgraded Champion's Tunic. Only level 1 upgrade. I have a level 3 soldier outfit, and it's got like twice the defense on it. But I was getting hit for about as much as I was in this outfit. So it's really perplexing why you upgrade, maybe other than the stats. I guess the stats, not the stats, but the extra bonus stuff that it does. That was a real confusing thing too. But I didn't really feel like complaining about it. It's not really that big a deal, right? I mean, it's just what it is. Yeah, I mean, really, and it's not like I'm complaining about it being a casual game either. It's just a very approachable game. And let's consider the fact that they did make this for a system that was intended to be mobile. So you got a Switch it was with the Wii U as well, but the Switch was primarily its target. And it was a game that was supposed to be very friendly on the go. And just the design of it, the accessibility of it, what you do. Yeah, it's very, very much a game that they wanted to be approachable and easy to pick up and play. And if I'm being 100% honest with you, that's probably the one reason that we might not see any improvements to a sequel, is simply because it's a mobile game, and they want you to be able to, be on a train, and some guy's grabbing your ass cheeks, and you gotta pause and slap him across the face and tell him you cad, and then move to another piece of the bus and resume your game. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the thing. They have to keep that in mind. So, I'm over here sitting on my nice, comfortable couch talking shit with my best pal, Buck Nasty. This is a different environment than getting molested on a train while trying to play my Switch. And the mechanics are probably going to have to reflect that. But yeah. But keep in mind, I do appreciate that you listen to me, Buck. But do please keep in mind, you don't have to agree with anything. Obviously, earlier you didn't. It's more of a fact that I just like to barf. Verbally. I like to verbally barf. And that's basically what I'm doing. This is my high, right? I'm in the ecstasy of having beaten a game that was really fun. I feel euphoric. In this moment, I am euphoric because of my heightened intelligence or whatever. I feel really good. And when I feel this good, I want to get my thoughts out so that later on, I can look back and just be like, is this really what I think? Now that time has gone by, are these still my thoughts? And I like that. That I enjoy that kind of the process of playing games. It's not in their best interest to get more money, stay more casual. It's true. That's the thing. Like, casual is... And let's face the fact that this is a mobile console that we're talking about here. They gotta build for that. So, yeah, it's very possible that... But, I think with the degradation thing, even if you want to have that constraint, I do think they could do something with weapon degradation to make it more tolerable. They could probably even make it more enjoyable. I don't have any specific suggestions, but if they just keep at it and come up with some ideas, I'm sure they could do something that would appease... Because that's actually a complaint a lot of people have. That's not a personal thing. That's something the internet has complained about over the years, is that the degradation system just isn't very fun. And it does kind of make it sort of hard for a mobile standpoint too, because if you have your gear set in stone, you don't got to worry about what progress you're making in the game. So it is kind of weird that they went with that in this sort of a mobile environment where it would have been easy just to stick to a couple weapons. Still though, I do like the concept, and I think they can do something. I have hope, and really it's not that big. It's not that big a deal. It's just, if we get this very same game again, I would be really disappointed, and I probably won't buy a Switch to play it. But if there's improvements and people are saying, hey, these weapons aren't breaking as fast, well, they might have taken $300 out of my pocket. Yeah. It's slightly irritating. It's just after a while, too. Like, I started thinking, like, this monster isn't worth hitting with any of my weapons. I would think, like, wow, this guy isn't going to drop anything good. He's just in my way. It's kind of like an exploration tax. It's like, all right, I'm going to keep a few weapons that are just trash, and I'll hit the mob. I just want to get by. I'll just one-shot the mob, and this will be the sword that I one-shot everything with, and that will, eventually it will just break. And it's like, okay, you have to have a few of those weapons on hand. And I couldn't always do that, and then I would just grab their weapons, and it would take forever to kill the guy, and there's still just this low-level mob that shouldn't be taking this long. So I had a lot of thoughts about efficiency when I was engaging in that kind of a system. But it got a lot better when I got to the Knights tier of weapons. The Knight tier of weapons actually... they were doing good damage, and I was able to get them pretty readily from the Colosseum. So that actually helped out a lot. Having a place that I could just go, yeah, I'll go over here, do a little farming. It'll take maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes or something, and then continue on my way. That actually worked really well. I didn't like having to spend that long on it. I guess the main point really shouldn't have been a thought. But in the system that they have, you did have to do it that way. Well, not have to, but that was a good way to handle it. So, yeah, so, I mean, it's not like a terrible system or anything. It just needs improvement, that's all. Just like any game. Any game is going to require improvement, And honestly, 90% of this game, I loved. The remaining 10%, that's just critiquing so that hopefully the next one's better. That's all it is. Nothing really dragged it down. That's a big thing to point out. I didn't have like a major moment where I was like, this sucks. I don't want to play anymore. I never had that. Everything that happened was just well, that's unfortunate. I'll go work around it. That's unfortunate. But you get those in games, and that's probably unavoidable. There's very rare are you going to get like the perfect game, and that's all. That's the only reason to bring up flaws, is to help them develop things for the next one that might be a little bit more in line with a fully enjoyable experience rather than just mostly enjoyable. You know what I mean? That it's just fun to shit on stuff too, Buck Nasty. Don't forget about that. It's fun. Oh boy, it's fun. When you and I were having a go earlier, oh boy. You know, that's the kind of thing I live for. I love talking about games, and it's okay that we have differing opinions. That is why you have the right to tell me to go fuck myself whenever you like. It's totally fine, because I'm going to say some shit, and you're going to be like, you're a fucking dumbass. And I'm going to be like, well, you're a fucking dumbass. That is a conclusion to the discussion that I am perfectly fine with. But I want to have that discussion where we get to that fuck you point. That's what I really like to have. Just because it's fun. It's about games, and nobody really talks about games like that. You know, it's all, like you said before, this game is casual, and the modern market is about casualness. And, you know, a lot of people who are gamers now are kind of casual. They don't really want to talk about this stuff. They don't sit on a couch and play games. They do it on the go. But I've always sat on a couch and played games, and I love talking about them. I think they're great. Did it all the time, product testing and all that shit. So, that's how I've been able to waste, I believe, about 51 minutes just reviewing Zelda Breath of the Wild. Pretty sure we just talked for 51 minutes after the game was done. Give or take maybe a couple of minutes here and there. I'm pretty sure it only took an hour to beat this. I thought for sure it was going to be much more irritating. I thought there was going to be much more irritating. It did take me a while to figure out what to do on that boss, but when I figured out that he was not glowy, how come, man, I wanted to interrupt his laser blast. I don't know what to do about the laser blast still. That was still like, what was that? Why was that not working? You know, that was really weird. But yeah, once I figured out the parry or dodge, yeah, that was kind of cool. I like that. That actually put me in an uncomfortable position where I had to fall on the mastery of parrying and dodging, which at the start I was doing flawlessly, but then I lost the timing window and started fucking up a lot. But that's the thing. That was kind of fun. It was like, okay, I got to do something that isn't easy to do, and I liked it. It was actually that was a pretty entertaining boss. That was a nice boss fight, and you know, I like that they stuck to the light arrow at the end and everything. That was very satisfying. I like it. On a scale, I mean, this is definitely one of the better Zeldas for sure. It doesn't usurp the Nintendo 64s, but, you know, all these little things I'm talking about, they were there in 64, but they weren't important. They didn't really play a big enough role. And, you know, that game came out when I was a kid, so my opinions and my tastes were far less developed when I was playing the 64 version. So they're iconic to me. They're not going to be beat because, you know, I played them on stream and I still felt like they were the golden age of gaming. You know, you're never going to get better than this, and that's how I felt. That's still how I feel. This game is not better than the old ones. But I don't think any new game probably could. I really don't know. I mean, it would have to be a miracle of a game to really be like that. So, but if we take off the God status, this is definitely a heavy contender for, you know, one of the best Zelda games out there. If we take off the previous God statuses of the older titles, I don't see why not. I mean, well, the only thing that holds it back is some of the dungeon things. I think that's important. There's not enough iconic Zelda stuff in here for me to be like, this is the primo Zelda game. There's not enough iconic stuff. There's not enough what they call tropes now. If they had some of the more of the Zelda tropes that were in the previous games that like speak to me about a Zelda game, I would have no problem just hoisting up saying, yep, this is the best Zelda, you know? If there was some more Triforce, if the story's more about Triforce, you know, even that alone might have been enough for me to be like, yeah, this is perfect. This is quintessential Zelda, you know? This one is just way different, though. And because it's wildly different, I don't want to put it on top of the pile of Zelda games and be like, yeah, that's the best one. I would put it at near the top, though. This is definitely a high-ranking Zelda game for sure. It's just good. It's very good. And if this is your favorite game that you've played in the last however long you can remember, I would nod and say, yeah, that's very fair. I would say that's very fair. There's a lot of shitty games out there, and this one manages to be different and yet magically not fall into that pothole of being complete trash. Different games tend to be garbage, but they did a good job on this one. They really did. I'm looking forward to the next one. I hope they make some, you know, changes here and there that warrant a playthrough, you know, makes me want to actually go through a playthrough and not wait until Zelda 2030 or something, you know? Because I always wait until, like, the fucking way later on these things, so. Whew, that was fun. So now comes the part where I don't know what's going to happen. So I have only one day left. Today is my last day on vacation. This is my second to last day. Tomorrow night is my last night of vacationing. And then I'm back to work on Friday night. I don't have any plans. I didn't really think beyond this game. The only goal was to play and perhaps beat this game throughout the vacation stretch, which I did. There is still plenty more things I could have done, and I am kind of interested in a few other things, but to be perfectly honest, I don't want to pick this up anymore. I think I'm at a really good high point with this game, and if I try and dig any deeper, I feel like I'm going to start, bringing down some of the hype levels that I have for the game right now, mostly because I did all the things I really wanted to do. So I gotta figure out what to stream next. It might be Kingdom Never Came. I go back to the DLC. I've been strongly thinking about Tekken 7 because a lot of people have picked that back up. Like Mike Ross is playing that shit and stuff. I'd love to get back into Lei, try and develop a Lei gameplay again. I really don't know. Dark Souls 3 is always an option. I like playing it. I can always go through Dark Souls 3 and feel good. So I might delete a character, go through it again. But I'm not really sure. I might just take the next couple days off and go right into work, and we'll just go back to our regularly scheduled every couple of day program. I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but I don't have a choice. And I only stream in the morning too, right? I come home at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, try and eat some food, take care of shit, and then I can play some games until like 11 or something. Yeah. It's a horrible time zone, but it's all I got. Shit. Alright, well, we're gonna call it then, huh? Man, my camera's doing some funny shit. Thanks again for hanging out, Buck Nasty. It's always good seeing you, man. Likes Hot Sauce did the resubbing for the millionth time. Deeply appreciated. 2 years is a long fucking time. My God. Spoinkin resubbed yesterday. We had a bunch of follows. This is kind of the disappointing thing. Zelda is one of those games where people tune in, and we had a shit ton of people come by. One of them is thanks to Guru, who rated us with some other guy, Jay Sleazy. I actually hit him up yesterday night or this morning. I saw his stream, and I tossed the dude some bits and shit, and he was pretty happy about that. I guess he's pretty pro. He's got quite a few viewers, man. He's up in there in like the 200 range. And yeah, he's still humble enough to accept some bits and praise a low tier guy like me. So that's pretty cool. I like the guy. I'll try and check him out some more often, whenever I got some time. But you know how it is. Whenever I got time, I'm generally streaming. But yeah, Zelda is one of those games where it brings some people in. People actually stop by, and there's some hype right now for Breath of the Wild 2. But at this point, I just don't think there's anything more I can do. I'll probably lose a lot of those people because I'm not going to be playing stuff that people want to watch because I just play random shit. We do have a new game coming sometime in the next week or two called Control. I haven't heard anything about it. Looks okay. It's like a chick with telekinesis powers, I think, or something like that. And I'm hoping that that might be a fun kind of distraction. It's a new game, and I love that's what I primarily do is play the new games, right? Variety streamer. So, I think that's going to be it. I mean, I don't really know. I kind of am leaning towards Kingdom Come Deliverance DLC, mostly because I do like it, and I haven't done the DLC before, so I kind of would like to do that. It's a buggy game though. It's a buggy game. It's a slow game. It's fun, but it's got a lot of problems. So it's kind of hard to get back into it. But I think once I fire it up and start playing, I'm gonna get addicted again. I'm gonna want to fucking parry and sword blow and everything. I love that stuff. It's really that's like the opposite of Zelda, right? They went into a weird direction with the combat that's really deep, but it ends up being way too complex for the system that they put in. and it's not really, it doesn't really work out as good as it should. But, you know, it is a brand new way of, well, not even brand new, but it's a different take on using that system. So you got to give them some room. They are indie devs and stuff like that. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and chilling. Hopefully I see all these guys again, and maybe they'll join us for some other games. But at this point, I think really the next hype game is that Control thing that happens in a few weeks. And that's going to be it. I'll just try and play some shit until then. You guys have a wonderful night. I think I'm going to go watch Sajam. I'm going to go watch Shazam. I'm going to go watch Sajam. Shazam? I'm going to go watch Shazam with the brother. You guys have a wonderful night, all right? Peace out until next time.